so welcome back. Uh, in the next lecture of this series, we are going to talk about the summary of this particular play by Arthur Miller. The title of this play is On My Sons. In the previous lectures, we have already talked about the characters of the play. So now let us talk about what happens in each act of this play. So the play is basically divided into three acts. You already know the characters of the play. So let us dive deep into the act-wise summary of this particular play. If you look at the act 1 of the play, the setting of this play does not change. It remains the Keller family's residence, and all the action actually takes place on the same day. It's a Sunday, and the play begins in the morning and the play concludes late in the night. So we are going to look at what happens in each act point wise. So act first actually talks about the scene of the setting of the play, and it talks about the family tensions. So if you look at the main family in the play, the Keller family, then the setting of the play is the suburban backyard. Joe Keller, who is the patriarch of the family, is a successful businessman. And what happens in act first is that when the play opens, you could see that the neighbors and the Kellers are having some kind of discussion, and through their dialogues we come to know many things about other characters and the action of the play. For example, when they talk about when the characters meet and when they talk to one another, we come to know that Larry, one of the members of the family, is the eldest son in the family is missing in action and hasn't come back from war, and so this act of his not coming back is viewed in different ways by different characters. For example, Kate, who's the mother, she refuses to accept the fact that Larry might have been killed in the action. So this creates some kind of tension in the play. So for example, the play actually takes a step further when you come to know that Anne Deaver, one of the major characters in the play, has come to see the Keller family. Deavers and Kellers once upon a time were family friends and were business partners, and now she has come, but she has come with a particular proposal. While discussing the characters, we talked about the relationships amongst all these characters, and as you might have noticed that Anne was actually romantically involved with Larry before the war began and Larry went to take part in war. The war is over, significant amount of time has passed by, Larry hasn't come back. So Anne has now started looking around for new companionship, and she has found that companionship in Chris, the younger son of the family. And so Chris and they want their relationship to be recognized by other family members. They want to make it an official thing. So Anne has come to visit the family. Now this creates a lot of tension in the family because Chris wants his relationship to be granted an official status. Joe believes that it will not be taken kindly by Kate because Kate still considers Anne to be Larry's girl. And at the same time, the minor characters in the play, they come and keep visiting. In fact, there is a significant development in the play when we come to know that Kate has actually asked Frank to prepare Larry's horoscope because she wants to make sure whether Larry has survived the war or not. So this is how the play begins with a lot of tension in the air. To make things simple, let me recap what I have been saying so far. The play opens on a Sunday morning. Major characters Joe Keller, Kate Keller and Chris Keller, they are there. and Anne is visiting them. Anne is visiting them because Chris and Anne want to make their relationship official. Kate refuses to accept the fact that her son has been killed in the action, and hence, so there is a lot of tension in the air, right? So Chris's proposal is pretty simple. Chris wants to marry Anne, and Anne also is willing to marry Chris. But there are a lot of complications in the relationship. One of the complications being Larry's disappearance. The second thing is that Joe Keeler and Steve Deaver, they were partners, and throughout the conversation, or we can infer from the conversation, that there was a scandal regarding their factory. Joe Keeler and Steve Deaver, they were actually providing some spare parts to American Air Force, and it appears that one of the batches of providing those spare parts was faulty, and even then was provided to the American Air Force, and as a result of that 21 pilots have lost their lives. Naturally, the whole thing became a huge scandal, and out of these two partners, one of them has been tried in the court of law. In fact, both of them have been tried in the court of law, but Joe has been exonerated because he has proved his case in the court that he was not present in the factory on that fateful day. It was Steve's call whether to supply the faulty parts or not, and that is why Steve had to bear the burden of the entire thing. He had to bear the brunt of the situation, and now he has been jailed. So there is a lot of tension in the air, and it seems that Chris, Joe and Anne, they are on one side, Kate on the other side. When I say that they are on two different sides, what I mean by this is Joe Keeler, Chris Keeler and Anne Deaver, they have accepted the fact that Larry might have lost his life in the action, and that is why, as life should move on, they should also move on, right? That is what they believe. And Kate is the only person in the family who still thinks that her son may come back any day, and in order to support her claim, she keeps quoting stories from the newspapers where it is reported that somebody who was missing in the action has come back. So this is how the play actually starts on a note of lot of tension, and the tension is further added by the arrival of Anne's brother, Steve's son, George. After the outbreak of the scandal, when Steve was jailed, both of his children, they had actually cut ties with him. But after a long time, George has gone and seen his father in the jail, and that is going to create a lot of problem, because George, when he goes to see his father in the jail, comes to know about the truth, and the truth is that it is true that they have provided the faulty spare parts to the American Air Force. But it was not only Steve's call. Joe was also involved in making the decision, and that is why Joe is equally responsible for the fault, but he has created a narrative, a false narrative around himself, that he was not present in the factory on that day, and that is why the entire blame was actually given to Steve, and he was jailed for that. So look at the tensions in the air. In Act First, there is a tension regarding what will be Kate's reaction to Chris's and Anne's proposal, number one. Number two is George has come back, and now he is going to bring out the truth regarding Joe's involvement in the whole thing. So these are the two factors which create a lot of tension actually in this particular play. So Act First successfully builds characters. It sets the tone of the play. At the same time, it creates lot of drama. lot of undercurrents are laid bare and are shown as to how different factors are working in this particular play. Now Act 2. Act 2 is about another important developments in the play. It is about a lot of tension which takes place in the play. For example, in the Act first, there is an interesting incident. An apple tree was planted in Larry's memory, and on that fateful night, actually, a storm took place, and as a result of that storm, the tree was, the tree gets broken. Some part of it gets defected, and that is why Chris cuts down the tree, and that actually is a symbolic act. Cutting down that tree means cutting down the expectations of Kate, who still believes that her son might be alive and may come back. Sue Bayliss criticizes Chris's idealism, hinting at Joe's guilt. And even the minor characters play a very important role in creating suspense, in creating drama in the play, for the simple reason that when Chris and talk about their proposal, they are joined by their neighbor Sue Bayliss, and Sue Bayliss hints at the phony aspect of Chris's idealism. She believes that Chris is a phony person, but Chris is quite an idealist person. But at the same time, Sue hints at Joe's guilt, Joe's Joe being complicit in that scandal. George reveals the part where he says that Joe ordered the defective parts, and Joe also faked the illness to avoid the blame. And Kate denies the whole thing. George's arrival actually brings the cat out of the bag. George brings it to the notice that Joe's claim that he was not present in the factory that day is a false claim, because he was pretty much involved into decision making. He was pretty much involved into taking the call. And so if blame is to be laid at somebody's doorstep, then Joe is equally responsible for the whole thing. Frank comes up with horoscope, and he says that he claims that the day Larry disappeared in the action was an auspicious day for him, so he cannot die on that day, so he might be alive. So these are the different forces which take place, and they create a lot of tension in the play. They actually further the action of this particular play. Now Act 2 once again brings to our notice as to how the family is falling apart. Now, in what way the family is falling apart? Joe, who's trying to save himself from the blame game, he actually tries to pacify George by offering him a job. George is a lawyer by profession, and so Joe actually makes a proposal that he might set George up in the town, set up his practice also. And he even commits that once Steve completes his term in the jail, he can take up a position in their family, post-prison that is. George actually he rejects the offer. And this particular proposal, which is put forward by Joe, creates a kind of crisis in the play, because George, who has been listening to him without reacting, now reacts very sharply to this proposal, and he says that my father hates your guts, Joe. He hates your guts, and he says that he hates everybody who made money on the war. So the key theme of this play, ethics, that is explored in the scene. Here is Joe Keller, who was equally responsible for the debacle, for that scandal, and somehow he has saved his skin, and in a way tricked his partner into accepting the guilt and going to the jail. And now his son, and even after this, he has the guts to offer a job to the person who actually bore the brunt of his mistakes, right? So that is something which you need to take into account. At the same time, while Kate is talking to George, another mistake is committed by Kate, because she accidentally and mistakenly exposes that Joe has never been ill for past 15 years, and then because he has claimed in the court of the law that he was ill on that day, that lie gets questioned. That claim gets questioned, that if he has not been ill for past 15 years, how come he could claim in the court of the law that he was ill on that very day? So that is another thing. So his alibi actually crumbles, because the person who could have testified for him says that he hasn't been ill for all these years. Suddenly the whole thing comes apart, and then George tells Anne that this is a family which is responsible for our father's imprisonment. So how can you get married to a person who is responsible for your father's imprisonment? So the climax is reached upon. Now look at these different threads. Thread number 1, Chris believed in his father's innocence, but now George's claim and George's proofs actually make him think twice about his father's claim, number 1. Number 2 is Joe, who's been trying to hush up the whole thing, is being exposed. Third thing is Kate now has to realize one thing, that her husband is not that innocent, and in fact his claim of being sick on that day is a false claim. So there is a lot of confrontation, and the family is falling apart. The tensions in the family are deepening. The crisis is deepening. The play, which started on a sad note because Larry was not around and everybody was missing Larry, everybody was trying to forget the past. Now George's arrival has actually brought that past into the present, and the past has come to haunt the present, right? So his version of Steve, which he actually brings to the table, it creates a lot of tensions amongst the family. And so the marriage proposal which was going to get discussed, marriage proposal of marriage proposal of Anne and Chris, that is kept aside. Chris's belief in his father undergoes deep questioning, and the entire facade which the family was actually putting forward, it falls apart. And actually Chris says to his father, this is a key sentence, "I know you are no worse than most men, but I thought you were better." So this is Chris's feelings towards his father. Chris had always believed that his father was innocent in the entire scandal, but now he thinks that his father is equally responsible for whatever has happened to those 21 pilots. So now the third act of the play is a very crucial act. What are the major things which take place in Act 3? Joe's confession, Chris's devastation, Kate's realization, and the moral cost. Now let us first of all talk about Joe's confession. The confrontation between the father and the son, which takes place after Joe's involvement is revealed in the scandal, where Chris actually threatens to leave the family and to start his life anew with Anne. That creates a problem in the family, and that actually makes Joe to rethink his position. Now Joe tries to defend his stand. He says that whatever I did for the family. He said that, I knew. Now he does not make any pretense about his non-involvement. He in fact comes out and says that yes, I was quite aware about the faulty badge and its supply to the Air Force. But he tries to justify his action by saying that if I had not done that, some other firm would have done that. It is not only me who committed the mistake, because other people have also committed the similar mistakes. and he said that if I had not provided that batch of the faulty parts, then the Air Force might have procured those parts from some other company, and in fact that would have thrown me out of business. I wanted to remain in the business because I wanted to earn money. I wanted to earn money because I wanted you people to have a decent lifestyle. And so whatever I did for you. That is what Joe says. And this is how Joe tries to defend his position. He has prioritized profit over safety. So the conflict which takes place between the father and son is actually a key conflict of the play. There is a son who is an idealist person who thinks that whatever his father has committed a moral blunder. On the other side, there is a father who thinks that whatever he did that in the interest of the family because he wanted everybody to have a decent lifestyle, money and everything. Now Chris thinks that what good is that money, right? So Chris tries to question father's morality by his idealism. So Joe's convenient morality, convenient business ethics versus Chris's idealism, both these things come into contact, and these things come into contact, these things come into conflict rather, and as a result of that, Joe realizes his mistake, and in the end of the play he actually shoots himself by saying that not only Larry but those 21 pilots who lost their lives because of the because of the spare parts provided by his company, they were all my sons. That is what he says. The title of this play is very important, is very apt, because the business ethics versus social responsibility. This is a key theme in this play. Now, confrontation between Chris and Joe underlines the conflict which is inherent in these two things. Chris's questioning and re-questioning of his father's behavior and father's morality is a very important part in this play. And Joe's realization, Joe also realizes that whatever he did, he might have been able to justify it in the name of the family, but ultimately what matters is your public morality. Every Christian believes in that dictum where Jesus says, the Bible says that do unto other what you want others to do to you, right? And so profit or responsibility, this is a very important choice to be made. Choice to be made by the person, and hence he shoots himself, and his shooting or his committing suicide is actually a message, is actually a symbolic act where he says that he's been trying to avoid the guilt, he's been running away from the guilt, but now he has realized his guilt, he has come to terms with his guilt, and as a result of that, he has committed suicide. So Joe's confession and his death is an important development in the plot of the play. Now, the second aspect which we should actually look at is Chris's devastation. When he realizes that his father has committed this kind of a moral blunder, whatever faith he had in his father or the values of American family, that faith gets completely shattered, and then as a result of that he accuses his father of being worse as other people are there, other profit mongers were there, and that is why Chris is completely devastated. Now the third important development in this act is Kate's realization. Now see, Kate right from the beginning of the play has been harboring two illusions. The first illusion which she was harboring was that Larry might come one day. Larry, who's MIA, that is missing in action, might come back one day and is alive. That is her first illusion. The second illusion, which she knew the reality of, but then she had kind of made herself to believe that story that Joe was not involved in whatever had happened in the factory on that fateful day. So both of her illusions are shattered. Anne is in possession of a letter which was written by Larry. Larry had written a letter to Anne, which Anne was hiding from everybody. Anne in that letter says that Larry was quite aware about what his father had done and the consequences of his father's actions he was quite aware of, and he had written in that letter that I might commit suicide. So Larry's death is certain. This is something which Kate realizes. And the second thing is that when she she actually accepts the role of Joe in the whole thing also. So this is how everybody is kind of is devastated by the revelations which take place. So this was briefly the summary of the play. We will talk about the thematic analysis of the play in the next lecture. Thank you for viewing this.